In this video, we're having a look at solving linear equations, focusing on one-sided equations. So by the end of the video, the aim is that you will be able to solve a one-sided linear equation. So equations are mathematical statements that show two equal expressions. So something is equal to something. So 4x is equal to 12, for example. This means that the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the equation are going to be equal. So linear equations can be solved using inverse operations. When solving equations, the last operation performed on the polynomial when building the equation is the first operation undone by applying inverse operations to both sides of the equation. So the inverse operations, just to remind you of what they are, the opposite of adding is subtracting. So the inverse operation of adding is subtracting. The inverse operation of subtracting is adding. The inverse operation of multiplying is dividing. The inverse operation of dividing is multiplying. Then when we are squaring a number, the inverse operation is going to be to square the number. The inverse operation of squaring a number is to square root that same number. And then if we had a to the power of another number other than 2, so for example, a to the power of 4, the inverse operation will be to find the fourth root of a. So that is a summary of our inverse operations. Remember, inverse means doing the opposite. So opposite of adding is subtracting. And that is what we do to solve linear equations. Also remember that if we have more than one number or variable that we need to rearrange, we do it in reverse BIDMAS order. So normally we would go brackets, indices, division, multiplication, adding, and subtracting. But when we are transposing linear equations to be able to solve them, we do it in reverse order. So start off with adding and subtracting, do them first, then you work out and reverse any divisions, multiplications, indices, and leaving brackets to last. So let's have a look at some examples of how do we solve one-sided linear equations. And in my first example, I've got 10t minus 22 is equal to 33. And I'll work out what is my value of t. So having a look at my equation, I've got 10t minus 22. So using my reverse BIDMAS order, I'm going to shift or remove my negative 22 as my first step. The opposite of subtracting 22 is going to be add 22. Now, because I want to keep my equation balanced, what I do to the left-hand side, I also need to do to the right-hand side. So I'm going to add 22 to both sides. So on my left-hand side, I'm going to be left with 10t. And on my right-hand side, I have got 33 plus 22. So that now equals to 55. So my next step is 10t is equal to 55. I still haven't got t by itself, so I need to continue to transpose my equation. I've got 10t, which is 10 times t. The opposite of multiplying by 10 is going to be divide by 10. So I divide by 10 on my left-hand side, need to do the same on my right-hand side. So t is going to equal to 55 divided by 10, which is equal to 5.5. So for my equation, 10t minus 22 is equal to 33. My t value is equal to 5.5. And I can check that by substituting my 5.5 value into my original equation. So 10t minus 22, so 10 times 5.5 is 55. Subtract 22 gets me to my 33. So when we solve linear equations, we can always go and check our solution by substituting in the value into the original equation to make sure that both sides are equal to the same number. So let's have a look at a second example. In my second example, it's m over 9 subtract 12 is equal to negative 10. So applying my reverse BIDMAS order, I have got negative 12 or subtract 12. I want to get rid of first. I remove it by doing the opposite. So minus 12, the opposite will be to add 12. I need to do that to both sides. So I add 12 onto both sides. So on my left-hand side, I'm left with m divided by 9, and that is going to be equal to negative 10 plus 12, which is 2. So m divided by 9 is equal to 2. I still need to do another step, and that step is to remove the divided by 9 on the left-hand side. The opposite of divide by 9 is multiply by 9. And I need to multiply by 9 on both sides. So m is going to equal to 2 multiplied by 9. So m is equal to 18. And again, I can check by substituting into my original equation. So 18 divided by 9 is 2. 2 minus 12 is equal to negative 10. So having a look at one more example for one-sided linear equations. In my third example, I want to solve 6a minus 30 in brackets is equal to 72. Now there's a couple of ways I can go ahead and complete this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to expand my brackets before I start rearranging the equation to find my value of a. So when I expand my brackets, it is going to be 6 times a minus 6 times 3, which is equal to 72. So that simplifies to 6a minus 18 is equal to 72. So now that I expanded my brackets, I can go ahead and rearrange to solve and find my value of a. So applying my reverse BIDMAS order, it is going to be negative 18, or take 18 that I'm going to shift from the left-hand side first. And I do that by applying the opposite. So it is going to be plus 18. What I do to the left-hand side, I need to do to the right-hand side. So 6a is going to become equal to 72 plus 18, which is equal to 90. I still haven't got my value for a, so I need to continue with my rearranging. Next, I'm going to have a look at my 6a, 6 multiplied by a. The opposite of multiplying by 6 is dividing by 6. So I need to divide by 6 onto both sides. So a is equal to 90 divided by 6, which is equal to 15. So there are some examples of how do we rearrange equations or transpose equations to find the value of the missing variable.